Hi Oscar, thanks for getting this in. So these are your lighting setup shots. Looks like you're using one light, and you diffuse it, and then you use a passive fill a little bit someplace. I'm not sure where. Here, maybe, I'm assuming it's on this side someplace. It's on camera right, and then there's a diffused light, camera left, above him. And yes, I can see the light in his glasses. You know, funny story about that. Since I've gotten into photography, I always insist. My husband wears glasses 24/7. I mean, he really sleeps with them if he doesn't forget to take them off. And I force him to pay for that the anti-glare coating that you can have put on glasses. Like, I make him pay an extra $100 every time he gets glasses because I can't stand it. I just can't stand it. I can't stand all the lights reflecting in his glasses all the time. Okay, and so, I know I've said this to you before, and I'll say it to you again. Get yourself some paper backdrops. They're cheap, and they solve this compositional problem that you have going on here. These things on the wall here that he's sitting in front of distract from him. And then look at how much of the image is devoted to these things. You know, it's like 1/3 this stuff and then 2/3 him. We would expect to see a much tighter crop here, right? But if you crop tighter, it's even more awkward, these things on the wall. So get yourself some paper backdrops, because you could have very easily in this space on a C-stand, 2 C-stands, you could have set up a paper backdrop right here, pulled him away from it a little bit, and had a beautiful shoot. So you need a little bit more equipment investment here, Oscar. You really do. You really, really do, especially if you're going to be moving on to the studio photography series, which is next, I believe, in your curriculum. And I think the one light just isn't enough for this assignment. It's just not enough light, because, you know, like we talked about in the lectures and in the book, you really want several different lights. You want a light for at least one light for your subject, one light for your background usually, and then you usually want a third light if you can get one for a kicker or a hair light or something like that. I sound like my 2-year-old. Like in this case, you know, it would have been really nice to have your key light over here on camera left, like you've got it, and then a little, like coming from behind, a little hair light here would have been very flattering for him. And also, then that would have enabled you, like you said, to try and get the light behind him more so that you don't have reflections in the glasses, and you would have been able to then bounce 2 lights back into him as passive fill. And that would have, the fill, you know, it's easy to set the fill up at an angle so that it's not reflecting in the glasses. You know, he can just even put a big gold reflector on his lap, and it fills in all those unattractive shadows that you're trying to get rid of so hard here. So you need more lights and backdrops. You just need them. Paper backdrops, like I said, you can get relatively inexpensive C-stands and set paper backdrops up on them for very little money. I mean, you can do the whole thing for under $100, and you'll have it, and you'll always have a backdrop for whatever your need is. Some of these are kind of interesting. I mean, minus this weird stuff right behind his head. I mean, you could have even taken that off the wall, Oscar. I mean, it's only on a hook. It's just on a little hook. You could have taken it off the wall. You gotta look when you're using your camera. You know, you look through the viewfinder and you look and really, really scrutinize what's in the scene. This never should have gotten into your photograph. Yeah, it's so hard to photograph people that refuse to do anything, isn't it? It's so hard. I was telling one of the other students today in their movie, I have no advice on this. When you can't get your subject to come alive, I don't know. If I ever find a book out there about practical tips on what to do with your models, how to get them to work for you or with you, I will share it with my students, because I don't know. I mean, I've gotten better at it over the years, but every now and then I just run into somebody that's just dead to the world, you know, and you can't, and it shows in the photographs. It's so hard. And I sometimes do what you did, which is, I think, smart, which is show them that their lack of expression doesn't look good on the camera, and then they should try and liven it up a little bit, you know. And they're always like, you know, and I don't know. I know I sound so disrespectful, but it's frustrating. It's a big point of frustration between not just me, but any photographer. So I can see that you struggled, and my guess is that you ended up not paying, you know, close attention to the composition because you were working so hard to get this guy to work with you so you could get a decent image. is my major suspicion here. Because you know, once you throw a person into the scene, you know, you're spending so much time negotiating with them that you forget about technique. So you have to find a balance between the two. You have to still focus on your technique, but also, you know, work with your model and get them to work with you. So more lights and get a backdrop. Get a backdrop before you take any more photography classes. Oscar, get a backdrop set up, okay? All right, thanks.